Hey guys, Nicole here, and I'm back with another process video. This page is actually, I think I did it in May, but I am sort of playing catch up on a lot of the videos that I had edited kind of halfway through. This is sketch 319 from Nuts About Sketches, and I basically just pulled a whole bunch of stuff out of my stash from like my Halloween stuff. A lot of it came in a Bella Boulevard warehouse box, and then the October Afternoon Halloween line, like embellishments and stuff, came in a couple of the Santa stacks. So I had pulled these October Afternoon postcards, and I really liked the one that has the 3 owls with the 3 pumpkins, because these photos are my sister and her kids, so there's just the 3 of them, so I thought that was kind of cute. And even though the Bella Boulevard, both of the Halloween collections that I was using, they coordinate with each other because Bella Boulevard uses the same color patterns throughout all of their collections each year. And the October Afternoon stuff is usually more cream based and sort of vintage looking. But it's pretty easy to kind of mix and match stuff in your stash just by picking little bits and pieces. So I'm just kind of going through everything that I had initially pulled and grabbing things that are sort of catching my eye and that I think work well together. And here I'm just going through this collection kit from the Trick or Treat line, and again just pulling papers that right off the bat I think will work. Some of them make it, some of them don't, and that's fine. I just was kind of doing a quick sort of pull through the different items. And I grabbed this spiderweb pattern to kind of cut down and sort of frame in the layout on either side. And then I grabbed this multicolored chevron, and I think this is one of the ones that I cut down and it just wasn't working. I kind of felt like with the spiderweb paper and the chevron it was just too busy. I tend to kind of use either like one multicolored pattern or maybe one busy pattern and a lot of like B-sides or tone-on-tone papers. I have a hard time matching like really busy papers together. So I'm just taking a second look through the 12 by 12 sticker sheets and just kind of trying to keep in the back of my mind all the different things that I had pulled and kind of the different things that I want to incorporate in the page. And then I'm just going through my stash and looking for a piece of vellum. Going to trim that down and kind of have it mute the pattern paper on the side. That way later when I go to layer like stickers or embellishments and stuff, it will sort of stand out against that pattern and not sort of compete with it. And it kind of helps with it being like the purple polka dot is pretty busy and that spiderweb pattern is pretty busy, so it kind of creates a little muted area on top of it. And I'm just taking some liquid glue and just kind of running it as close to the edge of the vellum as I possibly can. And just trying to sort of keep my my photos and stuff separate so I can remember which ones I had planned for each side of the layout. And again, I'm just running that liquid right along the edge because I'll be able to hide it with a little seam of cardstock later on. And I'm just using some stamping blocks to kind of hold it down so that the vellum doesn't warp while it's drying. And here I taken another sheet of vellum and I ran it through my silhouette and cut out this spiderweb design, and it was from a Carrie Bradford kit. And even though it is on a Cricut mat, I did cut it with my silhouette. I use Cricut mats all the time in my silhouette. I don't trim them down or anything, I just run it through like you would a regular silhouette mat. So I just tucked the spiderweb behind my photos, and I'm kind of getting an idea of where I want it. And then I'm going to put some more of that liquid adhesive on the back of the vellum in areas that I know my photos will cover it. And then here I just grabbed some black Bow Bunny double dot cardstock and just cut 2 thin strips, and I'm going to use that to cover up that seam where the 2 pattern papers and the vellum meet. And I really like the way that it kind of just defines the 2 areas. Then I'm just kind of going back through those pattern papers, and I was kind of changing my mind on what I wanted to have go across the bottom of my photos, and it ended up changing the paper to this light gray grid on white pattern paper because I wanted to incorporate like a stamped phrase, and so I was kind of looking for something that was going to be white and kind of brighten it up a little bit. And then I took that October afternoon postcard and I trimmed off the cream border so that it didn't sort of stand out so much next to my photos that have like the white frame and then the white on the Bello Boulevard papers. Plus it made it just a little bit smaller and it fit a little bit better with my photos. And then I was just checking my notes that I had written when I printed out this sketch. A lot of times when I'm printing out the sketch, I'll have like ideas or things that I want to accomplish while I'm doing the page, and then when I sit down I tend to forget what my original, what I originally set out to do. So a lot of times I'll just jot down some quick notes as far as what I wanted to do, or maybe something that I wanted to incorporate. So I was just checking the sketch to make sure I wasn't missing anything big. And then I had just flipped over that left-hand page to trim off the overhang of the spiderweb. And then I'm going to go ahead and commit to putting down my photos and postcard on the left page. And I'm just kind of making them slightly, I guess, slightly lopsided. I'm not lining them up perfectly or anything. Just tucking them under each other. No real rhyme or reason, just kind of what looks good to me at the time. And I'm just trimming off the overhang. And then I'm going to go ahead and start matching up elements that are spanning the gap. So I'm adding my grid paper over here. And then I'm going to match up the other piece of the spider web and go ahead and put that down. Again, I'm putting the adhesive where it's going to be behind my photos. And then I'm going to lay the photos out again, make sure I have them where I like, and go ahead and start putting those down. And then the little overhang piece that I had cut off, I went ahead and kept it, and I just added a little bit of glue to it and went ahead and glued it to the left page to kind of, I don't know, I like the way it looks. Like, it actually looks like you cut the page in half and that the photos were overlapping over that gap in your page. and it's not necessary, but a lot of times if there's, maybe like a quarter of an inch that I'm cutting off, I'll go ahead and put it on there. I just think it kind of helps it look more like one cohesive like photo collage instead of just like one butted up against the margin and another one butted up against the margin. And here I'm just checking these alphabet stickers that are on those and just kind of trying to think of a title while I'm laying the rest of this out. This little phrase strip was in, I think it was the miscellany pack from October Afternoon, and I believe this was from their, I think it was Witch Hazel, which is their Halloween collection. This stamp set is really old, and it's from My Favorite Things, and it was from their Who's That Girl line, which I don't think they still do that line. And I just liked the phrase, and I wanted to go ahead and try to find somewhere to incorporate that. And then these were also from the miscellany pack. There's some little tickets and flashcards and that little owl sitting on the pumpkin. And then I also have the little, I think they call these little flyers, or you make little toothpick flags with them. And I was grabbing a couple of the little phrase stickers that I wanted to use, and I really like to, like, if I'm using two different collections where, obviously one of them is cream based and one of them is white based, I try to not have, like, I guess I try to like spread it out everywhere. I don't want like just one grouping of stuff from the miscellany pack from October Afternoon and then just like a little grouping of stuff from Bella Boulevard. Like, I try to mix and match everything that I've pulled from my stash all over the page. So here I'm using gray ink and an orange ink, and I'm just kind of masking off part of the phrase when I ink it up. And after I stamped it, I really wasn't loving it, but it was kind of one of those things where it was like, well, it's already on there. I'm not going to try to find something to cover it up with. I really don't want to rip up the page, so it's there. Now I know I probably should have done like a test stamp on a scratch piece of paper, or even, a piece of that pattern paper, just to make sure that I liked it. But I didn't really think it went with the page, or it matched very well after I had already done it. Okay, so here I grabbed this washi tape from my stash, and I use it all the time, and I'll tell you why. I think I own maybe 4 rolls of washi, and one of them I hate. It's the washi tape from Travel Girl by October Afternoon, and it came in a Santa stack. I just think it is the ugliest thing ever. So I use it to like hold paper when I'm running it through my Big Shot, or I'll tape pattern paper down to my printer paper when I'm doing like computer journaling, or I'll use it when I'm masking stamps. I use it for stuff like that. So this black one with the numbers I use a lot, just because it happens to be, one of the 3 rolls that I do like. And here I have kind of decided that I'm just going to go with the title of Fright Night, and making sure that I have all the letters that I need. And after I had put it down, they were not standing out against that purple background. So I went ahead and I cut that ghost flashcard in half, and I'm using the offcut just to kind of make a cream layer right there to kind of have my title popping off. And then I just grabbed a border sticker and cut off a little piece to just kind of make it not be like this plain piece of paper just sitting there. Just kind of, adding a little bit of layers, adding a little bit more interest to it. And then I grabbed these label stickers and tucked one behind there. That way my title will kind of span all those layers. And then I'm just tucking a little phrase sticker over there. I'm adding the other part of the flashcard that I had cut in half, going ahead and attaching those little bits that I had sort of sitting on the left page, adding some more label stickers, just adding a little bit more interest to that area of the page. And eventually I'll remember to zoom out. And again, just tucking little bits of like phrases or stickers that, I just wanted a little bit of like a pop of color here and there. Going ahead and making one of those little toothpick flags. And I do realize that it's probably pointed the wrong way, but I was going with just kind of filling in that gap that I had. I don't really feel like there's a right way or a wrong way for these little flyers. I know some people say like, oh, it's supposed to face this way or it's supposed to face that way. I do what I feel like. And then I had grabbed that little sticker that says year, and basically I'm just inking up only the portion on the Project Life date stamper, just the year. I just inked it in some gray ink and went ahead and stamped it on there. And then I'm just tucking a little bit more of this black washi behind here just so that it looks like it's actually going all the way across the top of those photos. And here I'm just filling in that little gap too. And then these are some very, very old pre-tied adhesive buttons I have had in my stash forever. I still love them. I realized that I was hoarding them. So lately I've been sort of keeping them on my desk, and every time I pull stuff like from my stash, if I'm working with a kit, I try to use whatever's in the kit, but if I'm working from my stash, I try to grab colors of buttons out of that thing and actually use them, because they are an item in my stash that even though they're very old, I still love them. And even if the foam has sort of dried or gotten brittle, like, it's so easy to just pull the foam off and put a glue dot on the back. And I just grabbed a couple of these little circular stickers that were also on those little flyer sticker sheets, and I popped one up on foam adhesive and I tucked the other one behind, and I liked that it was an owl. So I kind of had, an owl on a little sticker, the die cut, and then the postcard. And then now I'm finally finishing my title. For whatever reason, I had forgotten to do the first word in my title. Just making sure they're sticking down pretty good, and that's pretty much everything. So here's a couple still photos of the layout, a couple close-ups so you can see the stamping and the different clusters. I think the only other thing I didn't mention is those little stars were just some doodlebug star-shaped gems. So I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.